Hey, Glenn Kaiser here in Chicago. Something I've been wanting to do for a long time. In studying African guitar designs, 1, 2, 3 strings, sometimes referred to as ngoni, a lot of different names from the different languages used throughout Africa and approaches to these things. They often use fishing line, monofilament fishing line. This is 50-pound test, two of them. And, you know, basically this was the back of a chair, of a wooden chair, one of them, a number of rung pieces on the back. I went ahead and sanded it all the way down, super smooth, got some rawhide shoelaces, literally licked with my saliva the rawhide, pulled the monofilament as tight as I could to create a couple of, shall we say, ersatz tuners. And I love this design. I've been wanting to do this forever. You can actually move them slightly. I've got them very tight, but you can still move them very slightly to change pitch. I decided to build a 2-stringer. I've seen a lot of Africans do it, and then, oh, look at that. Now, this is a little garbage D up. I'm creating new words today as well. E6000, slopped it on. The bridge is a little higher than I wish it would be. It's simply a piece of wood. I should have probably dropped it halfway down, about half the depth that it is. Cuban bullets, oh my goodness. Well, somebody gave me a couple of these boxes, and the top of the box had cracked. And I'd always wanted to take, I knew about it, but I'd never done one. I always wanted to take part of a 2-liter soda pop bottle. This happened to be Diet Mountain Dew, and cut out a square or a round piece and put it on some sort of a box, as it were, or on top of a round cup of some sort. And you know, so I decided, okay, I'm going to make it this way. What you do is you cut it out. I had a staple gun available to me. And stapled around so that the plastic would hold. And once I got it stapled around, which was kind of a shoddy job, but again, I don't make these to sell, I make them for me and as prototypes and to experience and experiment with different instruments, I went ahead and hit it with a heat gun, and you can see that it made almost an hourglass shape out of this little box after I hit it with the heat gun. That's how powerful it is when that plastic tightens up. Very tight. Now, a smaller bridge, something thinner in terms of the width, and a little bit shorter in terms of the height, and even something that would be more of a V shape, peaked. Or, yeah, I could have put just an eye bolt down or that sort of thing. But that would have probably changed the tone you're going to hear out of this. I'm only going to be about 6 inches away from the phone, and I'm just using my phone speaker to do this. So I didn't like the spacing, and I wanted it to be pretty equidistant of the strings, you know, so they align the way I wanted them to align with the neck. And so I ended up putting a couple of small screws in and feeding that monofilament to either side. You can see what I did. I created a couple of knots, and I wanted to leave the top as far away from touching the neck as possible so that it would resonate. Now again, the resonation I'm sure would be different. The tone would probably be at least somewhat different, and it might sound a lot better had I done something different with the bridge, but I wanted to keep moving along. And like I say, I glopped up the E6000. I let it cure for almost 48 hours, jamming it down as tight as I could. And there's other ways I could change this even now, and I may. Or again, this is a small, you can see here's my hand next to the box. This is a small little cigar box. So here we go. Not exactly in tune, but there we go. I'm literally just pulling up on the rawhide to change the pitch. So there's, learning where the notes are. I don't have any position markers. I obviously get to that at one point. Letting the monofilament stretch out. All of that's part of what has to happen on these things when you're using that kind of of fishing line for string. But 50-pound test, which I found dirt cheap at a Walmart. So there you go. I've been wanting to make something like this for a long time. I didn't have any turtle shells. I didn't have anything else to use. And I thought, well, I'm going to try with one of these little boxes. I'm probably going to move on to use a larger piece that I cut out from a discarded soda bottle of plastic, and I'll probably end up using a full-size cigar box at one point. And what I may do is I may actually play around with this around an old tambourine. There's so many ways to create something, and it's a little bit like you can find it on YouTube also, several people who've done this actually, with creating banjo heads out of plastic, different forms of plastic. And the other day, we finished up yogurt from Aldi. My wife and I do low carb, and we do yogurt, the Greek yogurt, which is really low carb comparatively. And the top is clear plastic. It's a little bit thicker than this plastic is. And it's of the size that if I get the right size bowl, who knows, another thing that I can do, like a wooden bowl, and staple it around, hit it with a heat gun till it shrinks up and tightens, and then, drill a hole for a neck and go for it again, which I probably will do at one point. It's just intriguing to me, the sounds that you get out of various found objects. And I've always wanted to do this because it's very much like an African based guitar in a lot of ways. I do hunt, so there may come a time when I actually get a skin or a couple of skins, and whatever it takes, small game, large game, whatever. I've done, that's a long story for many, many years. But I may come to a place where I go ahead and tan and stretch and wet it and actually get more authentic to the African version of the, as I say, usually Ngoni is the term, and Ngoni is one of many. Xalum, there's a bunch of terms for these kind of guitars, but I've been wanting to do this for so long. So hopefully it'll be inspiring and something fun. What's fun about that 50-pound monofilament, I'm kicking around Christmas of creating just a single string, very simple, but pretty, and I'll paint it and make it beautiful, and do something really fun for one of my grandchildren. I think she'd dig it. So there's things you can do even with one nylon string, yeah? And you don't have to spend for uke strings if you don't want to, but you can. So there you go, Glenn Kaiser in Chicago. I hope you're enjoying autumn here in the U.S., wherever you are in the world. Think creatively. Open up. God has given us an incredible world, and there's a lot of therapy, a lot of grace that can come our way, and where we can extend that love to others by doing things and sharing them. So here you go. Thanks for looking and listening, and see you again down the road.